Hello and welcome to the Permaculture Herbalism segment of the Elder Tree podcast. I am your host, Tennille Christensen from Earth Mama, where I teach people how to thrive and get skilled for sustainability. As an educator, kitchen witch, and plant lover, I welcome you to tune in as I interview permaculturalists from around the world. We will learn holistic ways of integrating plants into our homes, gardens, and communities for healing. Together, we will explore the art and science of this regenerative design system and harvest the collective wisdom. Permaculture offers a pathway to empower people to develop their lifestyles and landscapes. So let's discover how to grow and know plants with a purpose. In this interview, I had the great privilege of speaking with Igor Pershin. So it's a great honor to introduce him in this space and speak about why he is part of the Permaculture Herbalism segment. So Igor was a proud climate activist for many, many years and founded his own not-for-profit called Less Meat, Less Heat. He's done some amazing work with 350.org and Beyond Zero Emissions. He's even spoken on the TEDx stage and presented at UN climate conferences in Paris and Bonn. But what he talks about in this interview is really quite interesting because he says that he made a mistake and that he was wrong about his not-for-profit. And whilst he was working for climate change, he ended up finding solutions in permaculture and regenerative agriculture. So he speaks on all of these kind of adventures he's had from India and planting out thousands of trees in the Cauvery Calling alongside Sadhguru. He speaks about what burnout did and how that led him into his food and functional health journey, and how he manages that with plants and food. And he gives insight into his work with Zach Bush and the Farmer's Footprint, which is coming to Australia soon. As the operations manager of Farmer's Footprint Australia, he's going to give you some insight into what you can do in the near future for the special events coming to cities close by. And he also discusses bamboo. Now, he has a relationship with bamboo because he is working with this plant as a way to make water filters. So using an ancient technology of bench and tarn charcoal filters. He will fill you in with all of those details. But let's get into the interview. He is funny, he has some great analogies, and I trust you'll enjoy it as much as I did. Welcome, Igor. Thank you so much for joining me in my studio on this stormy evening in Kuranda.
Thanks so much for having me.
It's a total pleasure. I was really excited when you said yes to this podcast because we've been friends for a while now and I've been observing your journey and I think it's really inspiring, and I really wanted to share that with the community of herbalists and people sort of interested in permaculture in our global region, but especially in far north Queensland here, who's most certainly listening in as we expand onwards and upwards. So thank you for joining me, and I'm going to just jump into our questions and ask you, why is permaculture an important aspect of your life?
Well, firstly, thanks for flattering me, but I'm here because you're one of my biggest inspirations, because you really practice what you preach, and I really love how you and Blake walk the walk. And I learnt a lot from you guys during the permaculture design course, which is obviously how we met.
Yep.
So I'm flattered that you've seen what I'm doing worthwhile, that you want to share it.
I'm super proud.
Hopefully I can give something of value. Sorry, can you rephrase the question?
Yeah, so when we first met, you came as a student to the permaculture design course, but you had a story. You had already had a not-for-profit and you'd had this big transformation in your life. And then from our course, you've stayed up here in Cairns and you've got all these other awesome projects happening. So the question is, how has permaculture changed your life, or how has it influenced your life?
Right. Well, in many ways, well, first of all, like I didn't really know what permaculture was when I was living in Melbourne. I knew a few friends that had done this permaculture design course. I'd been, I'd actually met David Holmgren.
David Holmgren.
During a local, I think it was Local Futures conference down in Victoria, and I'd seen a few documentaries and things like that. So originally I came to Cairns, and a few people had mentioned that Organic Motion was we're hosting a permaculture design course, and me being new, I wanted to study it, but I also just wanted to meet like-minded individuals. So I thought that would be a great place to start, and I'm really glad that I just threw myself into it. And in terms of how it's changed my life, I think the people that I've met from the permaculture design course have become really good friends of mine. So there's that's definitely affected my zone 00 in beautiful, profound ways. Just really found myself in a really beautiful, warm community, and made a lot of beautiful connections, which continue to give to my life in many ways, and I try and give back as much as I can. And in terms of just opening my mind to really what's possible, I think me coming to Cairns was at the end of like a 5-year journey of being a climate activist, and just feeling completely burnt out, and also I think a big part of the burnout was from just spending so much time and effort focusing on what we're trying to fight and what we're trying to avoid. So it's like the rest of the environmental, I don't want to generalize, but a lot of the environmental movement is focused on what we're trying to stop. Which is fair enough, and we do need people fighting fracking, we do need people fighting deforestation, but it's it wears on you. And I wanted to find a pathway that, like Gandhi says, be the change you want to see, but actually promoting solutions. Like, I think I was asking myself the question towards the end of around that time of like, what if we were to create an ideal society that does live in balance with nature, that is truly sustainable and perpetual, and that meets our needs, and what does that look like? And I realized I had no idea, so I really wanted to explore what that could look like. And through the PDC permaculture design course, I realized, I guess people know what that is if they're on the podcast.
They can look it up or ask me later, but
that offered a way forward, and that actually offered a paradigm and a model of what people could do on their local level, and which would, once more and more people adopt that way of living, would have ripple effects and massive changes on a global level and bioregional level and beyond. I think that it gave me hope, I guess, of what is possible, and within a framework, because everyone's got so many different ideas, but I couldn't really find many solutions focused models out there that actually had a framework for it. And it's not a very rigid framework. Like, obviously there's rules and principles, and it's something that everyone can adopt. So anyway, I'm rambling, but I guess that is the format of the podcast.
It is.
It just gave me a framework and gave me hope of what is possible in terms of how do we get past this situation that we're in now. So you got hope, you got this organized framework, and then moving forward from there.
You've lived your life, you've started a business that is pretty awesome. So I'd love for you to share with people about what you're doing there, and then the other projects that you've stepped into that is around people acting on a local level, but the ripple effects of that global influence that each of us have by making those decisions at home and choosing our food. So can you share on that level?
Sure. Well, I mean, my food journey, just to backtrack a little bit with the climate activism that I did, my food journey originally started from there because when I started out in the climate movement, I was very much focused on fighting fossil fuels and that and kind of thing. 350.org coming out of my master's environment. I could probably even backtrack a bit more. But
yeah, please go there.
Originally, just so people can hear the full context. So originally, I had very different priorities growing up. I wanted to make lots of money, wanted to become wealthy, have a nice car, have a nice house, like all the values that society tells us leads to a so-called good life or the Australian dream, and that's what I wanted to do. And but it wasn't until I actually almost lost my life had a near-death experience, which took me years to recover from. The doctors reckon I had a 5% chance of surviving those injuries I sustained in Kuala Lumpur. And after that experience, just coming out of that, where I almost died. All my priorities were really shaken up, and I realized that the only things that were important were family and friends and giving back in some way.
Yeah.
And I guess the journey that I've embarked on since then is trying to figure out what is that way. Like, how do I give back in a way that I enjoy and that actually has some kind of tangible effect. And that led me in all different directions. I didn't really know where to start, so I thought, well, if I don't know where to start, then maybe I should just study environmentalism. So I went back to uni at the University of Melbourne. Beautiful course there, met some amazing people, and that shot me in a lot of different directions. Volunteered for Beyond Zero Emissions. I was very much focused on climate change because I realized that we're changing the climate in such profound ways. It doesn't, unless we have a stable climate, it's really hard to address a lot of the other issues. So it's kind of my mind's tendency to figure out, what's the bigger thing causing this problem? What's the bigger cause? What's the bigger cause? Yep. It's like a kid going, but why? But why?
Yeah.
But why?
Keep asking.
Keep asking.
Yeah.
And
Deeper.
Keep going more and more meta.
Yeah.
And climate change was that. And and then I realized that the climate movement was very much focused on fossil fuels. Realized that no one was really talking about the emissions of what we eat. And that's when I started my Less Meat, Less Heat campaign or organization, and that was a fascinating journey, which took me to 2 UN climate talks, COP21 in Paris, COP23 in Bonn, did a TEDx talk.
Amazing.
We had about 250 volunteers come through the organization. We built an app that we crowdfunded.
Wow. Did
some amazing things.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful journey, which I learnt a huge amount about myself and about the world through. It was a beautiful experience, but as I said before, it just burnt me out. But I also realized that I was also I think the other thing, when you're on the path of lifelong learning, it's important to test your fundamental assumptions.
For sure.
And it's something that I was so hard-headed and dogmatic and focused on. Well, if you eat less red meat, then we'll address the climate crisis and everything will be great if everyone just reduces. But then since then I've realized that the world's problems are far more complex. And I thought, I guess I knew that at the time, but I thought, but if we just address this one thing, then we'll have a big impact. But I'd since realized that I was actually wrong, and the vegetarians and vegans listening to this will probably get some hate mail from them. But I realized that it's far more complex than that, and that actually permaculture was part of that realization that ultimately we live in ecosystems.
Yeah.
And nothing exists in isolation.
Yep.
And like I agree with vegans and vegetarians that the way we raise animals is terrible, and
the way they're managed.
Is really bad. But I don't think the solution is to completely cut out animal agriculture, because where are you going to get your nutrients from the soil? Like it's really hard. It's really hard to recreate those ecologies unless you have animals as part of the system.
Yeah.
And if they're managed in a way that is regenerative.
Yep.
Which is funnily, like I remember back on our Let's Meet, Let's Eat webpage, we had a frequently asked questions section, and people people who'd fight our organization, and we were in a terrible place because we didn't have the support of the vegans or vegetarian organizations. We didn't have the support of like the climate movement, or not so much anyway, because we weren't fighting fossil fuels, so we're kind of like in no man's land.
Right.
But yeah, we had this. People would send us this video by Alan Savory.
Yes. Holistic management.
Yeah. We had a detailed FAQ, basically rebutting all his points.
Right.
But I've since realized that actually he's right, and there's holes in his arguments, and everyone's wrong in some ways, but ultimately, if we actually manage our animals in a holistic way that can regenerate the land, then that is great for people and planet.
Yeah.
And so where am I going with this? Yeah. So since then, since completing the permaculture course, I've been trying to figure out where I fit in. I knew I wanted to stay in the area of food, because I realized that food, I always had this gut feeling that food is the interaction between us and the environment. It's, even though we're so disconnected in every other way, like we drive cars and we walk on shoes that disconnect us from the land, we bury ourselves in hermetically sealed caskets that stop us from being broken down by the worms and the earth that we originally came from. We're so disconnected from the land and from each other, and we go to work in these like concrete buildings, and we rarely even breathe like actual fresh air. And but where the food is like is that true connection between us and nature, because no matter whether you're vegetarian or vegan or whatever you eat, it still comes from the earth. It still comes from our ecosystem. And sure, a lot of the food we eat is heavily processed, but the raw ingredients are still there, and it still comes from this earth. And I thought whatever the solution is, I'd like to be involved in that.
So when you look at the ecological footprints, if anyone's ever done the calculations, food is, transport and fossil fuels is big. But yeah, localizing our food and growing our own food, it definitely helps us to reduce.
It's huge. And I still like maintain that, like, if animals are managed poorly, then they can have a terrible environmental impact. But if they're managed well, they can actually have a beneficial environmental impact.
Definitely.
And I don't think the solution is lab-grown meat or these Beyond Burgers. If you look at the life cycle analysis of them, I remember reading into this, but if you eat a regenerative grown burger, you can actually offset the emissions from Beyond Burger when you do the life cycle.
Wow.
Yeah, which is hilarious.
Yeah. But there's a lot to say, with the whole soy industry and producing all, meats based on soy. I understand that people feel like they're doing it for an environmental impact, but forests are being cut down to grow soy.
Exactly. And soy like grown is most of the world. Soy is not grown regeneratively; it's grown conventionally, using a monoculture, using heavy pesticide, herbicide, fungicide use, which destroys the soil, all the life in the soil, the structure of the soil, and then ultimately the topsoil gets blown away or washed away, and it's gone, and then that eventually turns into desert. Yeah, like that's the most unsustainable way. The source of that statistic is questionable. Like, there's a statistic being banded around that says we've got like 60 harvests left, And I've heard some criticism of that statistic, and maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but I think it's on the right path. That the way we're going, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to realize that we don't have an infinite amount of topsoil. To regenerate topsoil is a really slow process. It takes a lot of time.
It can take 3 to 10 years with regenerative farming practices. So cover cropping, no-till.
But it's still slow. It's still very slow.
It's slow, absolutely.
Whereas the rate at which it's disappearing is so much faster. Even if you're the best regenerative farmer in the world,
absolutely,
it's virtually impossible to compete to regenerate at the pace at which we're losing it.
And it takes a collaborative effort.
Completely.
I just read some stats today because I'm doing a soils lesson in my program, and it's about, in America they've lost a third of their topsoil.
Wow. Yeah.
It takes millions of years to create.
Yeah.
It's holds and harbors so much carbon. It retains water. It filters. Our soil filters our water to give us clean drinking water.
Completely. It's all, and we're essentially destroying the carbon cycle, and it's and going back to climate change. If we actually restore and in the carbon cycle, you've got when we cut down forests, when we expose soil to the elements, it tries to heal itself by growing what we call weeds, but it's just trying to cover itself. It's trying to protect itself,
teaching us the natural law. Yeah,
exactly. But we spray them away and we let it disappear, and then that it releases carbon, so that exacerbates exacerbates climate change.
Yeah.
So, before I go off on more tangents around that, I going back to the original question, and it wasn't really until I was trying to, I think I was also going on my own health journey, which also relates back to food. Through the process of burnout, I'd actually developed an autoimmune condition. That's why I don't have any hair. I know a lot of people strive for this ultimate aim through a lot of laser and wax and that kind of thing, but I get there for free.
Naturally.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to get there, maybe run a non-profit for 5 years and burn yourself out. You can do it for free. But that freaked me out. I was in the middle of a trip in South America, and I came straight back, and that was the inflection point where I got sick and tired of being prescribed this pill for that or this injection for treating this symptom, of Western medicine's approach to just treating symptoms rather than root cause. And I'd already been doing a lot of reading into holistic medicine, to functional medicine in particular. Yep. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to give this functional medicine approach a go. So I appeased my mum, and I went to see a dermatologist, and I said, well, they're prescribing me these steroids, but I'm going to try out a functional medicine doctor, and they weren't covered by Medicare, so it cost me a bit of money. But I thought, you know what, this is worth it. And just the first appointment was just mind-blowing. Instead of spending 5 minutes going, here's your prescription, see you later, which the typical doctors visit, instead they actually asked me everything from how was I born, C-section or natural, how long was I breastfed for, what kind of stress do I have in my life, how am I sleeping, what am I eating, how am I eating, how am I dealing with that stress, am I meditating, what kind of exercise am I doing, and just like I heard in your podcast, what a thought that what we eat actually has an impact on on our health. The Western medicine approach. If a Western doctor was a mechanic, he would basically tell you that it doesn't matter if you put diesel and petrol in your car, she'll be fine.
That's a great analogy.
Or another analogy is oh, you've got the check engine light on. Well, actually, what you need to do is remove the light bulb.
Yes.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. It'll cost this much.
Yes, exactly. Use your prescription, done. See you later. But it's going back to that root cause, and we had this is Steve in New Health in Kew, for those of you listening in Melbourne, amazing guy.
Okay.
And he really brought the price down to make it more affordable.
Yep.
And he really took me on a journey, and bit by bit we looked at my vitamin deficiencies, my hormone deficiencies, and tried to address all those through my lifestyle, through through improving my sleep, giving myself more time to sleep, addressing the sources of stress in my life, getting more vitamin D. If you live south of Sydney or south, you don't get enough vitamin D for most of the year.
Yeah.
So I was supplementing, and it was in the midst of that healing journey that I went up. I met someone I met while I was traveling. She invited me up to Cairns just for get away from the cold, just for
to get some real vitamin D.
Yeah, exactly. You get some real vitamin D. Came up for Coranda Roots, had a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And I just felt so much warmth, like from the community and obviously from the place itself, being tropical North Queensland. But yeah, and just so much, just the nature just really drew me in. And I came back to Melbourne. I was a bit depressed, and my mum was like, "What's wrong? You don't seem very happy." And I told Mum, "I think I don't feel at home here. I felt home in Cairns. I think I need to be there." And she's supportive of whatever I want to do. So she just said, "Well, if that's where you need to be, then you should go there." So I within a month, I was in a new X-Trail that I bought, driving up to Cairns.
Right, and that's when we met you.
And that's when we met.
You came to the course.
And that was only a few months before the course.
Great. And then you fit right into our community. I feel like you know more people here in Cairns than I do now.
Yeah.
So that was the springboard.
So that was the springboard, yeah.
So the functional medicine, was that kind of a catalyst in looking and seeing how the diversity in diet and potentially eating meat that comes from good regenerative farming sources. You touched on, when you were in your healing journey, how it was about balancing your nutrients and your hormones, just so related to how we fix the earth as well, how we heal the earth. Is through all that balancing as well when things are out of whack.
Yeah, exactly. It made me from that experience. I learned that my body is not a machine that you can just switch this off, switch this on. It's a complex organism that ultimately has many different inputs based on the decisions that I make, from everything from how much sunlight I decide to get throughout the day to how long I decide to sleep, through how do I deal with my stress and and especially what I eat, and so much more. That this extends to the whole earth and everything in it. It's all one big. We're all part of one big complex organism. So I've been thinking about that for a long time. So through that process of healing, I gave myself the space to not dive straight into the next thing. Okay. That I wanted to give myself a year or two, or however long it took, until I found the next thing that really felt right, and that this is what I want to do.
Which is?
Which was regenerative agriculture.
Yeah, okay.
And what ultimately put me on that course was my best friend and my best man, Michael Palmier. We both love to travel, and he was a big follower. He's a big follower of Sadhguru, and I became I was also fascinated by his work. And he said, I think we're going to India. Sadhguru's done this big tour where they're going to be restoring a river through promoting regenerative agriculture. Yes. And we should go follow him. We should go and check it out and maybe do some volunteering and see what it's all about. And I thought, well, that doesn't sound like the original plan of going to Fiji and basking in the sun and doing some surfing and snorkeling. I thought about it, and I thought, well, you know what? I can always go on a beach holiday anywhere here. I'll go on this. So I went there, and we had a beautiful, albeit chaotic, time following Sadhguru around, who's like a 67-year-old. If you don't know him, he's a 67-year-old mystic, a true guru, incredible person, who's bringing back classical forms of yoga, but also doing a lot more to help the community. And he was holding these events from like 1,000 to 10,000 people in these various different villages of India, all along the Cauvery River.
Yeah.
And in basically inspiring farmers to adopt regenerative practices that they were practicing not even that long ago, before the 60s of the so-called Green Revolution, sort of powered by Monsanto, where they taught them the Western way of agriculture. Before that, they were practicing zero, what is it called again? Zero budget natural farming. And yeah, so they were from Sadhguru and a lot of educators were basically showing them that this is the best way forward. That they've had the highest suicide rates in India, like something like 300,000 farmers have taken their life
from BT cotton.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And through going back to those ancient forms of farming, they were able to increase their income like up to 8-fold.
Wow.
Improve their livelihoods, no longer be dousing themselves in chemicals in their land. And actually creating beautiful ecologies. Diversity, including like cows and a whole lot of different crops.
Sure.
It's pretty amazing how they've been able to do it. So after that trip, I was just super energized, and I came back to Australia, and I thought...
Can I just interrupt
Sure.
with that? So were they planting out the riparian zone along the Cauvery River?
Yes. Yeah. So what... I know this pretty intimately because I remember skimming that 700-page guide that they were doing these educational courses. But yeah, they were planning at least a 500 meter belt along the Cauvery River that was only going to be trees.
Amazing.
Just to restore the banks of the river to reduce...
Stop erosion.
To stop erosion, because the Cauvery River, since the Green Revolution, it stopped flowing out into the ocean.
Wow.
And they were getting massive soil salinity incursion along the coast and even further in.
It's like Murray-Darling River
and
and
the city of Chennai was actually going through their biggest drought, to the point where a city of 10 million people were having to bring in water from other parts of the country.
Oh my gosh.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And it was just getting worse and worse. So this wasn't a feel good, let's do something nice for the environment. This was survival.
Yeah.
They were doing this for survival.
Great. And was this supported by the government, or he was just like, come on people, let's go and do this?
Initially it wasn't.
Okay.
But because he got such massive support, broad sector support from the public, because he showed them that this is the only way forward. This is good for you, good for the people, good for your future, good for your kids.
Yeah.
That this is not just an environmental issue, this is a survival issue. And he showed people and explained it to them in simple terms, in a way that, not saying they're simple people, just in a way that people could understand.
Yeah.
And I think that takes the skills of a good communicator. He is that. That he ended up getting so much support that they ended up getting state support from the state of Karnataka, and one of the other states, I've forgotten the name, Ulaanbaatar is, I think it's one of the other states. But they ended up passing policies which supported farmers, which gave them a subsidy for up to 5 years during this transition, because that transition to agroforestry takes time, and during that time they may not be making as much money. But that state subsidy was pivotal to getting there. And they're planning. Sorry, the numbers aren't fresh on my mind, but it's something like 2 billion. Maybe billion, sorry.
Trees.
But anyway, whoever's listening to this should Google it and find out the exact number of trees. But it's
so what do they Google? Like what
Cauvery Calling?
Cauvery Calling, because it's the Cauvery River.
Yes, by the Isha Foundation.
Isha Foundation.
And the broader campaign to save all of India's rivers is called Rally for Rivers.
Okay.
And Sadhguru, more recently, he was doing a massive tour of Europe.
Yep.
It's called Save the Soil.
Oh, yes, I know this movement.
Yeah,
okay.
That he was going around to all the major countries in Europe, and also, I think, Middle East as well.
Amazing. So it's worked there, and he's now sort of replicating that pattern and inspiring other countries.
Exactly, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So
you were massively inspired by that, and you were on the Regenerative Agriculture buzz, and you came back to Australia. And so what's happening here?
Yeah, well, and I was asking around, and I was trying to figure out, and I thought, I was calling Isha Foundation, you guys doing something here like this? They're like, no, we've really focused on Cauvery Calling. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. We really want to get this right. Have it as a pilot project that we can replicate in other parts of the world, but we need to get this right first. So we can't support you if you want to do this project in Australia. And I was pretty disheartened. I thought, okay, well, I don't want to move to India. I want to do something here because
so there's a need here.
There's a need here, and farmers are facing a lot of similar issues. Like Murray-Darling, a huge example of that. so I didn't know where to start. I didn't want to start my own organization because I knew that was just an immense amount of work and possible burnout again.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I'm just going to hold off and wait until I find something. And then the pandemic hit. And through the pandemic, it really blew me away that a lot of the functional medicine spokespeople or experts, I should say, they weren't like fully supporting the vaccine, but they were almost too scared to talk about holistic ways of dealing with this, of improving your immunity, improving, who would have thought it's a radical idea that going out and they get that improving your vitamin D levels reduces your risk of COVID, of complications from COVID and any other disease really.
And increasing your vitamin C.
Increasing vitamin C. And this was like, people were being deplatformed for saying these things. And it blew me away how few people had the courage to speak the truth, because that is a true fact. There's so much scientific evidence to support that, but it became
very prescriptive.
Yeah. And through that malaise of misinformation,
observing misinformation, and one dialogue.
I heard one podcast by Dr. Zach Bush, who broke it all back down to that it was actually saying something quite radical and saying that viruses are actually beneficial to our evolution. That the way we understood human evolution as from generation, or any evolution from generation to generation, was only one part of the story. There was actually horizontal evolution going on through viruses, that that there's 10 to the power of 30 viruses in the air that we breathe. And viruses are actually, I don't want to speak for Zach, so I'd really recommend people go out and look up some of his podcasts and really blow your mind.
And where would they find that?
Anywhere. So okay. Rich Roll has done a few with him. The Regeneration has done a few. Aubrey Marcus has done some really inspiring ones with Dr. Zach Bush.
Nice.
But Zach Bush loves to talk to anyone.
Yeah. So maybe I'll get him on here one day.
Maybe, yeah. He's happy to have a yarn with people from all different walks of life. Yeah. But he was one of the few people at the time that really cut through to me and reminded me that actually what I've been learning through functional medicine was right and was more important to understand in the light of the pandemic than ever. That if only more and more people understood how to improve their immune system. And so I was really blown away by the podcast, and ultimately, I really urge people to let Zach tell his own story. But in summary, he was a doctor who saw that a lot of his patients were coming back with the same issues, and because of their poor diet, among many other things. But he realized that diet and lifestyle. So he went down the functional medicine path, became a dietitian, and then even then realized that even no matter what these patients were eating, their gut biomes a lot of the time weren't ready for that level of healthy food, and
wasn't able to absorb the nutrients. And realized that he was also studying cancer medicines and chemotherapy, and realized there was a big pocket of a really high incidence of cancer in what's one of the deltas in the US, in the south. Sorry, I'm just gone blank. Anyway, the Mississippi Delta. Oh, okay, Mississippi, yeah.
And he found a huge, really spike of cancer there, and realized that it was actually because of the flow of glyphosate from all the farms, from all the agriculture was compounding and was
binding in the soils there.
Yeah, binding there, and that was attributed to the direct correlation and causation.
Wow.
And it was really trying to understand, and he realized that he couldn't be a good dietitian unless he was also partnering with farmers, and unless he also knew how the food was raised. And not a farmer, but he wanted to learn.
Going to the source.
Yeah, going to the source. And he started an organization to help spread the adoption of regenerative agriculture principles called Farmer's Footprint, all from that journey.
Is that a relation to Kiss the Ground?
They're partners.
Or is that a film?
Kiss the Ground is a film that was created by the organisation of the same name.
Okay.
And Farmer's Footprint work very closely with Kiss the Ground.
Okay.
I personally know
Yep.
those people very well.
Okay.
They're doing incredible work. And it's right now they're working on an alliance to try and ban glyphosate in the US.
Great.
Which is huge.
Yes.
Like, because the Farm Bill only comes around every 4 years.
How transformational that will be for the world.
For the world, yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So after being so inspired by Dr. Zach Bush's podcast, I immediately emailed them, Farmer's Footprint in the US, and I said, where's Farmer's Footprint Australia? Can I start something here? Like, can you support me? And they said, well, no, we don't really have anything over there. Unfortunately, we can't really support it. We don't have that many resources. And again, I was a bit distraught. And then I kept pestering them because like something that, for better or for worse, is my strength and my weakness is my stubbornness.
Awesome.
So I kept pestering them, and eventually they relented and they said, well, we are actually planning to start something. It's not ready yet, but why don't you contact Blair Beatty?
Yep.
Maybe you guys, well, there's no funding yet, so don't expect anything, but maybe you guys can at least have some discussions.
Yep.
So I got in touch with Blair, and he said, well, I can't pay you anything. There's no jobs, there's no funding, but, we can start planning, we can start having discussions, and we started having weekly meetings for about a year before we got our first bit of funding. And we weren't really going anywhere, but at least we were laying down the groundwork to figure out this is what we're going to do once we get funding. And it was really hard to get traction during the pandemic, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
Because of a million different factors.
Yeah.
We couldn't even go into the state of New South Wales, which was where Blair was for a while. Living under house arrest, I guess. So not the fertile ground for starting a interstate non-profit.
Right. But you had this connection and you guys were holding on to hope and you were setting these intentions.
Exactly. So we were making plans, and then some funding actually came through late last year. And that's how Farmer's Footprint Australia was born. Yay. A very generous farmer who sold off his farm and wanted
I just got goosebumps.
Wanted to support our work.
Wow.
In a huge way, which gave us enough money to employ some staff part-time and casual and really get going. And that's fast forward to where we're at now. We've got a website, we've got a short film, we've got our first farm yarn. We're calling these stories called farm yarns, where we, like the Farmer's Footprint in the US, we share stories of farmers adopting regenerative practices. We're all about progress over perfection. So we don't only want to share the stories of farmers that have transitioned to completely regenerative practices. We want to share stories of farmers that are trying things. They're adopting
on the
this,
journey.
adopting that. They're on the journey. Maybe they still use a bit of chemicals here and there, but they're working on it. You know, they realize they're not fully there yet, but they're curious and they're moving forward and they're trying things in transition.
Amazing. Celebrating that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because we don't want it to be an exclusionary thing. That here's these great regenerative farmers, here's everyone else, and you're bad, and therefore we're going to shame you. We don't want it to be like that. Ultimately, we want Farmer's Footprint to be a place where farmers can see other farmers just like them. We want to get a breadth of different farmers, from cattle farmers to produce to crops, all different farmers.
So it's a bridge in a way.
Exactly, because a lot of farmers, even during the filming of our short film, which we visited, well, I wasn't there, but Blair and the film crew visited 12 farms, including Bruce Pascoe's farm in Mallacoota.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and a lot of them didn't even know about each other.
Yes,
so
this is it.
Even in that, like, who we thought were a pretty well-connected bunch.
Yeah.
A lot of them didn't know about each other. So we want to create those bridges and create those connections. We don't want to be prescriptive telling farmers this is what you need to do. We want farmers to tell farmers.
What's working for them.
What's working to share what's working for them.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to create to be able to elevate those stories and create networks so farmers can share those resources with each other.
This is brilliant. Great. And so you have something special coming up soon, hey?
Yes, we do.
What is it?
Yes, we do. So Dr. Zach Bush is actually coming to Australia, which is super, super, super exciting. I get goosebumps just thinking about it because he's been such a big inspiration of mine for the past couple of years. And
It's going to be in Melbourne,
it's
Sydney,
going to be,
Brisbane.
sorry, I just lost myself for a sec because I just remembered like the last talk that he did at the Australia's biggest regenerative agriculture conference. Just took us on a journey of envisioning what that looked like, and it just brought everyone to tears of joy and hope in the room.
Yeah.
And he's that person that is well versed in the science, but is also understands the metaphysical connection between, or understands beyond that, and he's very holistic in his approach. And so be prepared for a journey is all I'm going to say. If you want to attend one of his talks, he's going to be in Melbourne. He's going to start in Sydney from the 2nd. I think I can announce the 2nd of December. Will be in Sydney. But check our website for the full dates because my memory's not the best. And
that's cool. We'll put the link in the podcast so people can connect and find all this info.
And by the time this podcast comes out, hopefully the tickets will be live and hopefully they won't be sold out. Well, hopefully they will be sold out.
Yeah, that's a good thing. You have one of them.
yeah. But hopefully some of your listeners can at least make it to one of the events. We are planning a hybrid event for one of them, which will be cast. So for those of you who can't make it to one of the events...
That'll be me.
we will do a live cast.
Great.
Which we hope will be just as amazing and just as special.
Sure.
And we're finalising. There are going to be special guests, and they are going to be different from each of the major cities. I am not at liberty to say who we're in talks with because they're not confirmed yet.
Okay, all right. Stay tuned then.
So stay tuned. But we'll announce it first on our Instagram. So make sure you jump on that and follow us there and sign up to our mailing list, and you'll get updates straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So that's going to be a really inspiring series of events.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love all these sharings. And we only got through question 1. So we're going to have to hightail through the rest of the questions here. So, Igor, how do you integrate plants, and specifically from a herbalism perspective, which is around healing and nutrition, into your home, garden or community?
When I hear the word herbalist, I just think of that reggae song. He's a herbalist.
That's the kind of plant, hey?
That too.
There's your answer.
I do have a prescription, folks. Nothing illegal here.
Proper medicine.
But that is a herb, actually, like cannabis. I do. Yes. That is benefiting. Something that I'm still trying to figure out is I do get these spots on my head. For the past 6 months. I'm not sure where they're from. I don't think they're eczema, but I've been trying to heal them through traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, which has worked to some degree, but it's quite expensive. I wish it was covered by Medicare.
Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't that be transformational for everyone on Earth? Covered by Medicare.
Yeah. So I was looking at other ways, and I've been trying CBD oil for the past month, and that's worked so well to the point where people I run into down the street, they're like, "Wow, your skin's really cleared up. What are you doing?" And so that's been working really well for me.
Great.
THC oil has been helping me with my sleep. I have had a history of insomnia, and it's pretty good now, but every now and then, especially on full moons, for some reason, I have trouble. I wake up. Yeah, maybe I'm a werewolf. I'm
the wizardry coming out. Yeah. You need to actually be awake and creating something at that time.
Maybe.
That's what, just work with it. That's what nature wants you.
The most hairless werewolf around.
Hairless werewolf. Cool.
So cannabis is one to plant, and that's helped me in many ways in my life.
Cool.
Also, what else? I mean, we use a lot of different herbs in our cooking. Ibika. My beautiful wife, I love very much, Lani, uses Ibika in her cooking. which is, I think, has got a lot of positive herbal properties as well.
Absolutely. It's in my Incredible Edibles book. It's one of the tropical superfoods. Yeah, and there's so many varieties of Ibica in Papua New Guinea, where she's from, hey? Way more than, I think I've got 3 types in my garden. So.
Yeah, we've got 2.
2, okay, cool. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm just trying to think. Peppermint tea. I use that one to really calm myself and help me transition into sleep. That's my nighttime tea, and it also helps my digestion.
Big time, yeah.
Also, what's the red powder that's used in a lot of Indian cooking that helps with your digestion as well? Turmeric. Yeah. Sorry, I've just gone blank.
Yeah.
Turmeric. I always keep some of that. If I've got a particularly bad tummy ache, I add that to my peppermint tea, like a spoonful. It doesn't taste great, but add a bit of honey to taste. Yeah. And that's like a super tea that will get you through no matter how bad your stomach pain is. That will get you through. Awesome. So that's another one I use. I also use wild oregano oil. If you know that feeling when you're like, I think you were saying you don't really get sick anymore, so maybe not yourself, but when you feel a cold coming on and you just get that feeling in the back of your throat. Yeah. So a bit of wild turmeric, wild oregano oil to the back of your throat. Yeah. Just a few drops and clear up the next day. Yeah. So that's pretty amazing.
I definitely get that tickle. Like I'm not immune to anything, and like it comes around. But yeah, I have my elderberry. I have my elderberry cough syrup that I go to. Or propolis is another one.
Propolis is great as well. Yeah. I've got some propolis. I need to look into elderberry. Obviously, that's the name of this podcast, so I need to.
Yeah. Well, I've got. You can take some plants home with you. I'm like definitely propagate those outwards.
I'd love to.
All right. So third question is: do you have a favorite plant that you can recommend as a must-have to include in a home garden, and why?
Favorite plant to include in a home garden. Good question. I think something that is really like, I think everyone should have a herb garden because it's the easiest thing to grow. Like, even if you're like me, not the best at cultivating plants and forget to water them, they still somehow survive. They're pretty resilient little plants, most herbs. So I think it's like whatever your favorite herbs are, make sure you try growing them in even if you pots if you don't have a garden, if you go on a balcony. I do love basil. Yeah, it's quite nice to have. If you've got a cat, get some catnip. Yeah, they love it.
Yeah, there's medicinal herbs for our animals, not just for us too. It's quite like it's medicine to the heart when you can watch your cats and the catnip.
Just watching it roll around and just have a nibble and get into it and have a little day's nap.
Yeah. Maybe rubbing it yourself.
Yeah. So herbs for yourself and herbs for your pets too. And look after all.
Can you share an example of when you utilized plants to improve your health, and what was that experience? Well, you kind of covered that with the turmeric and peppermint and CBD. I think you kind of just intuitively answered that question. Do you have anything to add to it?
Well, I mean, with my insomnia journey, that was before I even looked at holistic health. I tried everything under the sun. I tried pharmaceutical sleep pills, which actually increase your risk of all-cause mortality by 5x on average. Wow. I've learnt since, so never touch them, avoid them. Tried cognitive behavioral therapy, which had some benefit. So I think that was useful. But ultimately, it was probably going to sound like a stoner on this podcast, but
back to that special plant again.
Back to that special plant that really helped in many ways. So that was really beneficial. But I think it was a multitude of things. I think it was the CBD that helped, and cannabis that helped, and also sleep hygiene, really taking care of the noise. Light pollution. As
in like screen time before you go to bed?
Yep, having a good wind down ritual. Avoiding screen time. If you must, use blue light glasses, or surprised that your daughter knows what blue light glasses are. She's 6 years old and was impressed.
She's 9.
Sorry, 9. Sorry. 9, and she was like impressed by my blue light glasses. I didn't even know she would know what they were.
Yeah, because she's just been, like up the level of 9 now, so she's using screens and she's like, I need blue light glasses to use this. I was like, okay, let's get you prepared with that.
Wonderful.
I know, the future generations, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm trying to think if there's any other plants.
You have lots of aloe vera on your
yes,
balcony.
Of course. Aloe vera is a wonder plant. Great. I've got pretty fair skin, so I do burn fairly easily. So it's great for just helping heal whatever sunburn I have.
Yep.
But it's also, it's got a lot of other uses as well. I'm just trying to think. Sorry, I've gone blank. What else do we use it for? I think it's just nice to just as a moisturizer as well. Mm-hmm. It's just really, if your skin's ever feeling dry, it helps moisturize your skin really well.
Yeah. I just read the other day that aloe vera it is absorbed into our skin 5 times faster than water.
Wow.
So our body is literally like open to receive whatever the constituents in there are. This is that book that I talked about in my last. I was reading about it in here. Okay. So I'll give you that to take home and you can read up all about the other things about aloe vera. You'll be using it for more than sunscreen. Definitely.
And also, I do love like those aloe vera drinks. I know they're not the healthiest. Maybe I should figure out how to make it myself.
You can do that. I've got the recipe in there. Yeah, but it is amazing. Minus the sugar, if you can add some honey to it or something. But very hydrating for our.
It's nice to chew on. Yes. It's good.
Yep.
And one of my favorite birds, the sunbirds, they propagate aloe vera. The sunbirds.
Yeah, we have sunbirds.
Yeah, sunbirds. Yeah, they're the ones that hover.
Yeah, they're kind of like the hummingbirds of South America.
I never knew it until like back when I had an ice bath. I was taking an ice bath one time and I was just watching these sunbird like
hover into the flowers of it. Yeah, because they've got the long beaks. Beautiful. I have yet to see that. It's pretty special.
Really special.
Great way to pass the time in a cold bath.
Yep. Nice little distraction from how freaking cold it was.
Oh, well, that's the segue for this final question, which is what is alive and thriving in your life right now?
What is alive? Oh, that's a broad, big question. What is alive and thriving? I would say my love for my wife is alive and thriving. Yeah. We just got married a few months ago and I just love her more and more every day and we learn more and more about each other and I'm just really excited about the rest of our life that we're going to spend together. So that's really alive and thriving. And really excited to visit her homeland in Papua New Guinea. Read a lot about it. I watched a few documentaries by Jared Diamond about it and really looking forward to that. And also I've been working, I've finally had a bit of time to work a bit more on my little side business that I've been plugging away at. Rewinding back to my functional medicine journey, one of the things that my functional medicine doctor told me to remove was all exposure of plastics. Remove it from your food, remove it from your water. So, okay, fair enough. I invested in some nice glass Tupperware containers for my food. But then I thought, well, I like filtered water, but my Brita's made out of plastic. Couldn't really find anything that didn't have plastic. And I searched far and wide. It wasn't until I found out about Binchutan or Binkutan charcoal from Japan. So I ordered some and you put this stick of charcoal in your water and I loved it. And I realized that there's nothing in Australia. There's no Australian producers or shops selling it. So I thought maybe this is a little side business. So I initially was trying to make it myself, working with Ken through the permaculture course. We were trying to make it using the biochar process. Yep. But unfortunately, I couldn't quite get it to the same level of quality that. Fair enough. The Japanese have been doing it for hundreds of years, and I'm just trying it for a few months. So, I mean, no amount of hubris will get me there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been working with a supplier in China who actually makes it out of bamboo.
Amazing.
Using the traditional Japanese process.
Yep.
So rather than deriving it from trees, which there are a lot of ways that they harvest it sustainably, but I've heard of stories where because of the increased demand, some of the practices are becoming more unsustainable. They're starting to actually chop down some of the trees to do this. I thought, I don't want to contribute to that.
Yep.
So when I found a supplier that made out of bamboo, I thought that's perfect. Because bamboo, as you know, is grass.
Yep. You
can cut it down in infinite number of times.
Regrow.
Just like grass, you can trim it and always regrows. So that's how Natural Filters was born, and that's the little business I've been working on. So now lately I've been having a lot more free time to work on that. So I've been really excited to really get that out there.
Yay.
So if anyone's interested in that, check out naturalfilters.com.au. Shameless plug.
Love it. Well, it's just connecting people, and that's awesome. You know, we love supporting local people and, you know, doing the amazing work you do, because the amount of plastic bottles out there is... There's a whole big story to that. Huge. But, you know, from a health perspective, if we're just talking about herbalism and working with plants, bamboo,
there you go,
charcoal, clear water in our bodies, and you know, we talked about the carbon being sequestrated into good soil through regenerative farming practices, and bamboo.
Long-term vision would be to grow it in Australia, using regenerative practices, and maybe hire someone like a Binchaton maker to come and build a kiln here in Australia.
Whoa, that's a cool vision.
Yeah, that would be locally sourced regenerative bamboo charcoal filters.
Woohoo! But next level.
Taking a while to get there, but
cool.
Got to start
we'll support you in the meantime.
Thanks.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure chatting with you, and the storm's passed over, and I wonder if our guests can actually hear the life of the forest happening outside that's competing with us talking in here.
Yes, I do love all the ambient sounds you have here. Yeah. One day, if we can get a handle on the mold, I'd love to move out to the rainforest.
It is beautiful in Kuranda, yeah. So thanks for making the trip and for sharing everything that you have in this podcast. And until next time, keep on doing the great work. And big appreciation from the Elder Tree podcast crew. And thank you to all the listeners that joined us. Is there anything that you want to say to sign out?
Thanks so much, Tennille, for having me. And I really appreciate you, first of all, being an inspiration, being a constant source of inspiration, and just being a really good friend and supporting me and what I'm doing, and so many other members of our community. So much love to you and Blake and your family, and I'm very grateful for our friendship and this beautiful platform that you've created.
Yay, cool. All right, so look out for Igor, the bald guy, at the conference in Melbourne or Sydney.
Or
Brisbane.
So I'm not going to be at the Sydney one. I'll be at the Melbourne one and the Brisbane one.
Okay, Melbourne, Brisbane.
Early December.
Cool. Come say hi to Igor there.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Yay. The Elder Tree is a not-for-profit organisation that is in the beginning stages of creating a grassroots herbal education centre and healing sanctuary in the Atherton Tablelands of Far North Queensland. To find out more, go to theeldertree.org and follow the journey on Instagram and Facebook. You can also donate to the Elder Tree via our podcast channel on Anchor or via the website. If you like the episode, we'd love you to subscribe. And if you know who we should interview next, drop us a line. See you next month, and in the meantime, may you grow them to know them and be blessed with good health and many plants.